Hello, Raphael. It's good to be speaking to you.
Phil T,
Uh,
absolutely, man.
where are you at? Where are you at
I'm in
now?
Philadelphia.
Reading through your profile, I see you come from Wilmington. Is that true?
Yes, man, Wilmington, Delaware, right outside of the city, actually, in Newark, Newport area. I grew up.
hmm And your parents were they? How long have your people been in this area?
They grew up there. My father's from like Lower Maryland, and he moved to the city. I think when he was a kid. My mother grew up there all her life.
Anybody else in your family in the arts?
No, man. Oddly enough, my father was a I think he was a great artist. I would come across some of his stuff while I was coming up, and he was just a street guy, man. He was just caught up in the streets and stuff, and unfortunately, his art didn't lead
Mhm.
to anything.
Well, maybe if we have time, but we might um, circle back to he was a street guy, because I noticed that I was reading your bio, and you were. Let me see if I can go back and find it. You were saying a couple of very provocative things. Uh, Searching for a fresh new approach to expand the vocabulary of the dance form has not only come from the culture, but his music and visual background. What do you mean, the culture?
Uh, Mostly the the breaking community, the hip hop community, and hip hop culture.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just studying some of the older guys, the considerable pioneers of the form, the dance form. Um, a lot of them, it was a straight up thing from the street. Nobody knew what they were doing. It was just reactionary, right? So um, having conversations with them and listening to how innocent their response was to a lot of questions I was asking, but there was so much.
Like what? Like what kind of questions? Like what?
Um, I was asking like, how did you come up with that, or how did you come up with a particular movement, or where did you get your style from? And
Mm.
so when I say innocently, I mean they would tell me that's just me, that's my style. I'm that kind of person. I grew up so and so. At the same time, it was a lot of arrogance and the and not in a disrespectful way, but arrogance and cockiness that comes with that street culture or that game. And so when I got to know these guys, I realized that it was part of the whole facade.
Mm.
Watching them walk, uh, listening to them talk, understanding the environment they came up in, that was the reason they were acting the way they were.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of looked at my surroundings and pulled from that and tried to think about almost similar to copying or reenacting how it would have been for me growing up in that same space. So then I
Mm-hmm.
put on a facade, a New York City facade, and that's how I would come up with the way I would approach the movement. Because I'm from Wilmington, Delaware. Most of the stuff I got was second, third hand.
Mm-hmm.
You
I mean,
know,
in other words, now, excuse me if I do any kind of contraction that's offensive, but in other words, a lot of the swagger of young black men in the streets is an urban swagger, right?
yep,
And
yep.
uh, and that means that there is a certain toughness and confidence, and you're saying in Wilmington you wouldn't have the culture that would create those qualities.
Not necessarily, not
Mm.
necessarily. And sometimes I found out that it was a thing to do. You had to put this on because if someone recognized that you were weak, they would take advantage of you.
Mm.
So you were forced to be tough. You were forced to have your chest
Mm-hmm.
up and act a certain way and grill somebody and look at them. But then you get in the house, man, and you're eating, Fruit Loops and listening to music that you wouldn't listen to in the streets. You're listening to rock music instead of rap music. You know what I mean? So you're putting this thing on, and then you go back on in the streets and you put that jacket back on. I'm like, yo, this is kind of weird. But it was a protective thing as well, because you had to do something to protect yourself if you weren't built like that.
Well, it seems now in the era that we're in now, I sometimes, for lack of a better word, say the is it post Trayvon Martin or post George Floyd? You choose your atrocity, right? Each one seems to have moved the culture with a capital C, or the society, a step, so I dare say, closer to understanding the narrative. I think everybody now sort of gets it. Oh, that's why rap music has the kind of edge, because it comes from a mean streets. Everybody, white middle class soccer mom, they've gotten the memo from the likes of Ta-Nehisi Coates, is that this is the art of survival. This is the language of survival. This is a posture of survival on the streets. So I hope that we're now living in a time where that we don't really have to explain that. But I wonder about the authenticity from inside of it, and therefore that's what I'm looking for in your work. I see that the title of it is, we've been kicking this idea around now for what, 3 years or something like that?
Yeah, 4 years, man. Yeah.
Right. So the title of the piece is is it the musician and the mover?
Yes.
And you want to talk about that, and where does the emphasis fall for you? The musician, the mover. What is the emphasis?
The musician and the mover came from, if you remember the talk that we had when you came to Philly that day in the hotel lobby, and originally it was called Sassafras Roots to Mastery, and it was paying homage to the fallen breakers from that era that we just talked about. And
let's put a date on it. What is the era exactly we're talking about? This is the
75 to 85 in that space. And you said to me you liked the work that you saw at the showcase, but it was very sad, and you didn't feel that I was represented as who's Raphael in this work, and you don't come off to me as being that sad thing. And I thought about that a lot, and I really started to put who is Raph in this work as an artist. And so trying to find a narrative that everybody could relate to, and it wasn't a work specific to my the breaking community, the older breaking community, the breaking community, and artists who are not going to be known or never be seen. How can we make this broader so audiences can relate to it no matter what? And so the musician and the mover came out of that, because everyone can relate to music and musicians, and everyone can relate to movement. Not a particular dance style, but movement, a mover. And we all are movers. It's not dance. For me, it's not dance until we say it's dance.
I understand.
I'm sorry.
But my brother, I think I'm going to just push back a little bit, because I think it's really fascinating and very generous what you're saying, particularly you say everybody, and I'm wondering who that is. But music, I find, is very divisive. Of course, being in the generation of people that discovered electric guitars and the disruptive power of clanging guitars and loud drums and so on, and the older people saying, how can you all listen to that noise, right? So already there's a division.
Yeah.
Then Max Roach, who was a friend and a mentor, who told me that his sadness was that in his generation, man, he said, we was the popular music. We were the popular music. People went out to dance to jazz. And then this rock and roll came along, Chuck Berry, and they killed us. They killed us. So even the Black community, music was defined eras and I dare say class and what have you. but you say everyone loves music. Now, your music, as I understand from looking at it, is jazz-based music.
Yeah.
Now, do the young dudes out there who see themselves as in the life now, in the street now, are they listening to jazz? What So music is not such a great unifier, in my way of thinking. So what is that? You said the musician and the music and the mover.
Yeah.
So this is a particular musician.
Yeah. So when I say musician, I am speaking to the musician in general, whatever that may be, whatever genre of music he's playing. In this particular sense, it is jazz music. And jazz music has the tendency to make people feel safe. Rap music, yeah, rap music, well, they'll go the other way. Rock music, they'll go the other way. Right? Alternative, they're curious about it. I'm not interested in that. But jazz music is like, sometimes I felt growing up, they was like, oh, okay, I can get with that. And then they'll go, oh, my favorite artist is Coltrane, and that's the only jazz artist that they know. Or Kenny G, I love Kenny G. And he's like, dude, that's not jazz. And some people's eyes, that's not jazz music. But people like that made it safe for others to come in and feel like they could listen to that. Even with rap music, Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince made it okay for people to accept rap music when they were running the other way. When you hear NWA or Big Daddy Kane or Rakim, people were running the other way. But Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince made it safe and acceptable for white people. I don't mean offensively, but for white people to be okay with that.
It's not offensive to me. Like we live in an era now where everybody listening to this should have ears wide enough. You have a right to talk as a Black man. Right on. I have a right to talk to you as a Black man. And oftentimes in talking as Black men, we talk about white people. That's right, just the way the thing was set up. And that's so, and I don't think as artists that we have to back off from that. And I don't take any naming things as being an accusation. So to say someone is white means that they're already guilty of something, I think is what is behind that, which is a whole other conversation. And what I thought was so generous in your description of your work was that you really are trying to create a platform, if you will, where all people can, quote, what? Enjoy, learn, participate. What is it that is, what is it that you were getting at that you said, you want to expand?
A little bit of everything, man. Because, like I said, it's a weird dynamic for me because I come from this street dance, and so at an early time when I was learning the dance, my peers, 3 years in, my peers called the dance corny. They made fun of you for dancing, because the dance was out. It wasn't happening no more. From 1982, 83 to 85, dance came and went. So when I hooked up with Rennie, 96 or so.
Rennie Harris.
Rennie Harris.
You worked with Rennie in Rennie's company for a while.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. So he was doing a hip hop version of Romeo and Juliet. Mm-hmm. So I found a place where I was accepted with this form, and then that work, I mean, it just turned it into something. It just turned it into something else for me, and so that gave me a privilege.
Okay, may I ask you, what did it turn into for you?
It was no longer a hobby. It was no longer something for me to do for fun. It now became, I have to be on my game because I'm performing on stage and I'm representing this man, this choreographer, this artist who's created a name for himself and the form that we are practicing. Mm. We are on stage. We've gone from the street to the stage. So now I felt like I had to act like I was professional. No more braggadocious street thing, you know what I mean, talking the game. I had to present myself as a professional. And so I started to look at what he was doing. I was watching other dance companies, other forms that I had no interest in watching. But I felt a responsibility. If I'm going to do this stage thing, I need to know what's going on in the stage world.
So, for instance, had you seen ballet before?
No.
Okay. Had you seen Alvin Ailey?
No.
Had you seen Merce Cunningham or Trisha Brown? Had you seen Bill T. Jones? Had you seen Bill T. Jones?
Didn't even hear Bill T. Jones.
Yes. So you were in a kind of a silo in a way, right? You
Absolutely.
were, yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I think maybe our listeners or viewers might enjoy your take on, we talk about there's not a hegemony, not one monolith when we say break dancing. As a matter of fact, you might even give us a little primer on what is breakdancing, the accepted title for a whole field of endeavor that used to have locking, and now there is stepping, and now there is juking, and now there's so many, and I'm just pretending here because I'm not really an authority on this, but so how do you see this, you talk about the community,
Mm-hmm.
Is it all one thing, or are there different factions?
That's an interesting question, man. At one time, hip hop was the umbrella for everything: popping, locking, breaking, the different funk styles on the West Coast. And it was only at that time, popping, locking, breaking, and that was it. And then house came into the picture, and people would just throw that under the hip hop umbrella as well. And then urban showed up. So you got hip hop and urban. As things moved forward, as things began to open up in the years went on, a lot of the pioneering dancers began to do workshops and speak about the other forms that came along with that. On the West Coast, you had popping, locking, waving, tutting, Fresno, boogaloo. They were all these different funk styles that went under the umbrella of popping, so to speak, right? Breaking was only breaking. It was just breakdancing. You saw it on the floor. That's what you recognized it as. Windmills, footwork, swipes, head spins. That was breakdancing. That's all that there was for hip hop, so to speak. Then later on, the various styles came out, and evolved even more. I'll say hip hop proper came out of New York City, which developed when breaking was played out. The hip hop form embodied popping, locking, all the social dances and remnants of breaking, because it was more accepted now. You weren't allowed in the clubs as a breaker anymore. So you had to get in there. You could get in the club. You had to dress. You couldn't wear a sweatsuit. You had to dress up. You had to look presentable. You get in. If you touched the floor, you got kicked out.
Really? Wow.
So you had to stay up top. So the hip hop dances became that thing. It became stand-up dances. Everything was up. And so when you have all the I'll say urban dances, all the urban dances that come out of the hood, and I don't know them all. Light feet, juking, bucking, Chicago footwork. They come from a particular community, indigenous to the state they come from, and they don't. For Chicago footwork, they don't consider that dance hip hop dance.
No.
And I'm good friends with some of the guys in the era footwork crew. They do not consider that hip hop dance. It's its own thing, which was weird to me. And I was like, okay, I'll get that, because in favor of them, for some reason, anything that comes out now out of the urban space becomes hip hop dance. I don't agree with that.
Mm.
It says that there's nothing else, even the music, it says that there's nothing else that can be created from the urban community unless it's hip hop. That's not necessarily true. It cannot be the only and the last thing that we create as African Americans or that urban space. Let it be what it is,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Let them have their thing. Something else is going to be created, and if we don't allow it, it will stagnate the youth. It will stagnate the culture and the evolution of what the dance can absolutely be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not. Please go ahead, finish. Go.
Oh, did I make sense? Am I making sense?
Yeah, it's a lot of sense. As a matter of fact, it's like a whole course. I see you teach at Princeton. You teach a course. What is the name of the course that you teach?
One is Introduction to Hip Hop Dance, and the other one is Introduction to Breaking, Deciphering Its Power.
Right, and that is what I guess I'm feeling. I am reluctantly. I've come to Instagram. I don't do it myself, but my husband does. And sometimes the last thing we do in the evening is just like scrolling through, and it's astounding. Saying that breakdancing got to a point where it was no longer welcome, but now it seems every night there's a breakdance Olympics on, right? People doing things which my God, I just wonder about what they're going to be like when they get my age. What will be left of the joints, the necks, the knees, and so on. But right now, it is astounding. They're pushing human ability to a far, far extreme. And a lot of them are not Black people.
Right.
And matter of fact, it seems like the Asian community, the Korean community, those people have really appropriated this. I don't mean that. Well, I don't know how. I'm not putting any judgment on appropriating it, but they've taken it to a certain level. Everyone has a right to do that, but I do sense that they feel that the correct attitude, is the disaffected, poor person in an urban environment like the Bronx, like the West Coast. But that seems to go with what they think this is. I wonder what they call it hip hop. What do you think about that phenomena? Let's call it the Instagram, the TikTok phenomena of the hip hop Olympics.
Right. Well, breaking has been accepted into the Olympics for 2024. And so now the hype is around having classes to go to, having training coaches, having these facilities in different places, getting ready to gear up for all of that, which means online access to competitions, being able to have access to the streaming of all of that. And so you start to see this, a massive amount of people get involved in the dance and using these platforms to be seen and recognized for whatever reasons. But if you take that away and you look at the different cultures who have embraced and embodied American culture, African American culture, hip hop, or breaking, even rap music, but they've taken that on as a respect for African American culture. And what goes and comes with that respect is to outdo the person that you respect, or the form that you're respecting. So if you're going to take on something, you can't just be okay with that. You have to take it to another level to make them proud, to make them look at, oh wow, they're studying this form, they're taking it to another level. We need to respect that, and we need to not counter that, but we need to roll with it. We need to give it the support it needs, and mirror that so it keeps rising. A lot of us, for some reason, are looking at it as like it's being taken away from us. I don't agree with that at all. I think that that's allowing it to be seen, and the the skill level is at an all-time high because these people are trying to outdo the next and outdo the next. And so a lot of times with American culture, let's just say Black culture, we do it because we enjoy it and we move on when we've outgrown it, or we just move on. It doesn't leave us. We're always going to do it, but we move on. And so when that part of it is recognized as being the best or being the greatest, then we come and go, yeah, but that's they took it from us. They stole it from us. They're just copying us. I think that because these other people from different countries have began to use their background and their training and their traditions and put into the American culture, the African American culture, hip hop culture. It has allowed it to be more than just doing it.
Or more than just doing it. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, we're not just doing it just because. All of the traditions that we come from, let's say the Asian community, right? There's a tradition of culture. There's folkloric tales, there's stories, there's a history of all of these things. Great martial artists come out of the Asian community. African Americans watched kung fu flicks. That was, as hip hop artists, young hip hop artists, we watched kung fu flicks and were inspired by that movement, which gave us the ideas to create some of the things that we were doing as breakers or hip hop dancers.
Mm-hmm.
The traditions and cultures that Asians have, that they grew up in, remain. So now you apply that deep history of generations into the form that you've taken from American culture. It now magnifies that with a different meaning, a more powerful meaning.
Mm-hmm.
So I think,
well, okay. That I'm thinking of when hip hop or breakdancing first came to the attention of the downtown art world, right? Mm-hmm. We understood that those that had been going on already in the Bronx and places, and it was in somebody like the Africa Bambadas of the world, or I know, of course, this is scratching and so on and rapping, but they were very intelligently channeling aggressive feelings between young men of color in the streets, and instead of killing and each other, they would challenge them, and that's where a lot of the dancing came from. Now, so in a way, it had a social purpose. Now, is that so much? Is that sort of a kind of silly, bleeding heart, liberal analysis of a social phenomena? I always loved the story. Yeah, it made sense to me. And that's how I understood what was so male-oriented about it, although I know it wasn't exclusively male, and what was so much braggadocio about it. It was actually something else was being worked out. So now it is. So when I hear you say it's something bigger, to me, that is art at its highest level. Art is coming as a kind of an urgent response to something. I'm always thinking about that in my own work. And I'm wondering about when a thing becomes a style first, a fad first, even if it is, and you say it's now going to become an Olympic sport, in a way, I would say that that's almost the kiss of death for a dance form when it becomes a sport, because I'm still trying to understand where the poetry is in it.
I agree.
What is the life or death? What are the emotional, spiritual issues being expressed in the form? And I'm not going to put you on this is my feeling about it. I'm an observer, and I look to you as to help, because you're the historian here, which, circling back to the musician and the mover, well, who are your performers in this now? Who are they?
I have Josh Colbreth, who wildly I met as a young kid who was also a part of Rennie Harris Pure Movement. I mean, I would see the kid at practice, and then one day I look over, I'm like, he's standing on stage next to me in the performance. So we kind of came up together in this stage dance. Martha Bernabeu, she is from New York City, and I've seen her in the community. I know her boyfriend is a breaker who came up in the early '90s with some of the heavy hitters, the young guys that were in New York City at the time as well. And I reached out to her. I wanted a female in the work just to give it another dynamic and give us a change in the meaning for some of the way we're doing the choreography and the storyline, the through line. And we could talk about that later. And then I have Bobby Zankel, Kim Pedro Rodriguez, Sumi Tanuka, and Richard Hill. Bass, drum, like I don't know, bass, drum, piano, and saxophone.
Mhm. And how do you decide what the score is going to be? Is that they give you something, or do you ask them for something? How does that work with it?
It started out as me asking for a certain feel. I was looking for uh, uh, a soundtrack, a score that would tell the story um, of the beginning and the end. So if I go back to like the 2018 when we first started doing this, it was absolutely about this excitement, and then we go to the peak of the excitement of breaking, and then it completely drops, and everybody's in the street, and then we have all these drugs, and then we have the death of everyone, and then we go out. So it started off well, and then it went very sad, and that's what you saw. So I was looking for the music to have that kind of through line to help me create the dance. And then I started thinking about it differently. It's supposed to be improvisation. We have these structured forms where jazz musicians go in and out of the structure. As soloists, they do their solo. And I had been missing that. So I went back to that. And so once I gave them an idea of the sound I was looking for, then they gave me their thing, and we all worked together to come up with something that really felt good as a backdrop for the work.
Mm-hmm. I see.
I'm sorry. And Sumi Tanuka is a pretty famous, well-known jazz pianist, and she had a piece called Phantom Carousel that I had heard, and it was really spooky, man. It was eerie, and it told a story without having to say anything. And when I heard that, I asked her to play that in the opening, and so we used that. So there's a few pieces that have been written by the musicians that we play with.
Right. I wonder, what do you think you would like your audience to really know about you this evening, your history? What do you think would be the sweet spot for them to be in, to actually come in and be able to really appreciate this work?
Man, I think the biggest thing is at some point we got to let go and just enjoy being in the moment. And this work is about being in the moment and being present, right? It talks a lot. I should not talk a lot, but it says a lot about how some of the things in this world have not changed. I'm 51, man. You're 70. You just turned 70.
Yes, I did. On the 15th.
And nothing has changed. You still see the same things you saw when you were 20 years old. I'm seeing those same things that you saw when I was 20 years old. Nothing has changed. It's only the perspective and how we navigate our way around those same funky issues. So this work speaks to that in a sense. Now, as an artist, we have a choice to go full out. We have a choice to back up. We have a choice to quit.
Well, when you say, okay, very colorful, a verb-driven language, what do you mean go full out? What artist doesn't go full out?
The artist that quits or something gets in the way and they decide, oh, I'm not ready to do that. I'm not. You
Hmm.
see my hands? I'm not
Yeah, I
ready to
got
do
you.
that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so this work is about that fight.
Mm,
The fight that you go in, I'm going full out. Whatever it takes, I'm going for it. I'm going to fight through it. I'm going to get through it. Even when I can't, I got to be ready to fight through it. So it's
mm,
carrying the burden of having to fight through things as an artist when people are telling you that you can't do it, or carrying the burden of having to not play in the real world because your fantasy and your dream is to be this famous artist,
mm.
right? And so then we have all of these reasons of why we do things or why we don't do these things, and then we put them on someone else, and then they have to carry that around.
No, are you speaking of the choreographer's role to a relationship to his performers, or you mean in?
No, just in general as human beings or artists, right?
Mm,
We all have a particular thing we're doing in life. Even if we're not artists, we're workers of with a goal to get a new position, to be the CEO of something, to start a business. We all have these things. And so in that sense of how do we move forward? If someone closes the door in your face, that don't mean sit down and give up.
mm,
Go somewhere else and try it again. Or build your own door and walk through it. That kind
No,
of
yeah,
thing.
yeah, no,
That
I
kind
hear
of
you.
thing.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, so I'm just curious. Are there any forms outside of your breaking form? Anybody that you turn to for inspiration? Because like I love literature. I love reading, and particularly I like 19th century literature. Within the novel form is very much in the front of everyone's mind. Visual arts became very important, as you know. Visual arts for the avant-garde in the late in the 60s and the 70s. Many of the movers were actually people who were involved with visual artists.
Yeah.
What about you? Do you have any other form that you turn to for inspiration or provocation?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Funny enough, my friend Walton Ford, I'm not sure if you're familiar with him. He's a watercolor painter out of New York City. Um, he does these giant watercolors. I have to send you one of his images. Incredible stuff. But the amount of research that he does before he even begins to paint is incredible. And
Mm,
I learned to do that probably 2011, 12. I began to do the research that would help me get into my work even more. And I got that from him
mm,
because all the research that he was doing, he would pull the very tiny parts out of that to create his work. All the, massive amount of books and research, but only one little thing. And so I began to do that, and I got overwhelmed because it was so much stuff to pull from. I'm like, yo, how do I condense all of the stuff I learned into this one space? And that little moment hit me. Just take one piece that's not as obvious to anyone else who would read your books or do that research. What stands out the most to you? And
mm.
build from that. So I started doing that. Edgar Allan Poe, reading his stuff, and all the stuff he was saying, different things that he would say. One thing stood out to me. I probably couldn't tell you half the stuff that I read, but the one thing that stood out to me for years was human ingenuity cannot concoct a cipher that human ingenuity cannot resolve.
One more
And
time, please. What human?
human ingenuity cannot concoct a cipher that human ingenuity cannot resolve.
Mm, mhm,
And
mhm.
so just the word cipher or circle, which is what we dance in, is a lot of information in a circle, right? It represents female fertility. There's a lot of information in there. there's safety. And so that got me thinking about how we operate in life. I'm talking to you from a computer screen. It's a box. Our heads right now are in a box. We live in a box. We drive a box. We watch a box. We pull our food out of a box. Things are shipped in a box. A circle with all the information is absolutely the most powerful thing in the world to me. The head is round, the eyes are round, our heart is round, right? Our bodies is the box, but it houses the things that are amazingly important. And so that phrase of the human ingenuity phrase made me think about what I just explained to you and how important it is to represent the circle and how we are looked at as artists and how we box ourselves in and shut us down from the amount of information that we can take on and disseminate if we get out of the box.
Well, beautifully said. Yeah. I was just wondering, thinking about what you just said, how have you come full circle, so to speak? You are a man in your early 50s, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And the world continues to, like gangbusters, new names, new musics, new games, what have you.
Yeah.
And you have stayed true to your form. What now? What do you are you an elder now? And what makes you, that's good for, and what does that mean exactly? What is your place and what do you want your place to be?
I think my place is being responsible for how I give people information that allows them to think freely and for themselves. Because we did that at one point before everything became dead on and it has to be this way. You did whatever you wanted to do. You made sense of it. And now you're going to tell someone that if it ain't like this, it ain't right. So my responsibility is to get back to that and point people in the right direction where they can think freely. You know, take on what everyone says. Like Rennie used to say all the time, you can listen to what I'm telling you, but don't just stop right there. Challenge me. Challenge the things I say. Right? This is what I'm saying. What do you find out about that? So I just feel like it's my responsibility now to give people the information and then say, challenge that. What is it for you? I know what it is for me. I know my theories. I know my practicalities. I know why I'm doing this. I know where it came from, and I know where I want to go. Now, what are you doing with that? Example, at Princeton, I can't teach those kids what it's like from the 70s and the 80s in my era. It's not the same. It's not supposed to be the same. I also understand that they're building rockets, dude, and satellites that are flying in space right now. They're doctors and mathematicians and all of these things. Breaking is not going to be may not be something that they do as a career. But that doesn't mean I can't give them information where they can apply the things I'm giving them to the things they're doing in life every day. One of them is breaking is to take apart, decipher, decode, put back together to find solution. That's the actual definition. What I do in class is exactly that. I give you a move. We take it apart, we decipher, we put it back together. What does it mean? And how do you come up with a solution that works for you on your body? Another thing is, I asked them, it's a silly question, but it's fun too. How many numbers are there? And I always get infinite, unlimited, right? There's only 10, 0 through 9. The combinations of those numbers is what makes it infinite. And they all go, oh. So like, just apply that stuff to everyday things. You're looking at a big problem. Break it down and then approach each piece and then put it back together. And that's how you solve the problem. Human ingenuity cannot concoct a cipher that human ingenuity cannot resolve. And all that goes into that thing. So that's my responsibility with the form and the dance.
Well, Professor, you are a man for our moment because you're full of, you got a vision and hopefulness, and we need more of that. So, Raphael, I'm going to thank you very much on behalf of New York Live Arts, and
thank you
for bringing this latest version of the work to us, The Musician and the Mover. We look forward to seeing it on our stage in a little over a week, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. A week, exactly.
Yes. Okay. All the best to you, sir. And thank you so much.
Thank you much. Thank you much, Bill.